Welcome to the introduction to our XAMPP. After installing XAMPP, in order to start the program, you can go to the bottom left corner here, click on Start, and then you can search for XAMPP. And you will find XAMPP Control Panel. Just click on it to start the control panel. The control panel here, the two most important components are the web server, which is called the Apache web server, and the MySQL. The other three are unused as we did not install them. And then to start the Apache web server, just click on Start, and you will see the status at the bottom here. Status change detected, running. And then you can see the port is 80 and 443. 80 is a default port that it listens on. 443 is the SSL port, but we are not going to use 443. We are just going to use 80. And then to start the SQL server, we click on the Start Server here. This is how we start our web server and SQL server, and you can see the status for SQL server is also started. Status change detected, running. The order of starting is important. You need to start your web server first before you start your SQL server. And when you want to stop, you reverse the order. You stop the SQL server first, then you stop the Apache server. That is the status. That is the sequence of starting and stopping. After you click on start your Apache server, you can confirm that it is running by looking for the port. Go to command prompt down here, look for CMD and start the command prompt. Then you can click on Start netstat-dan, hit enter. Netstat is a command to list all the ports that are open. TAN means listen for TCP ports and list down the TCP ports in all of them. A means all, N means in numerical format. So here you see port 80 is running, so you know that our Apache web server is running. And then now we are going to start the SQL server. When you click on Start, you can come back here and clear the screen first by typing CLS to clear screen, and then repeat the command by pressing the up arrow key to go back to the previous command, and then hit enter. And now you examine it, you can see that 3306 is open. So 3306 is the port for SQL. So 80 is for Apache, 3306 is for SQL. That's how you confirm that it is open. The other thing you must take note of is where do you put your web pages for Apache. So to find out your web page, go to your C drive for this PC, go to the XAMPP, and then open htdocs. So all your web page is put in here. If you want to visit your web page here, you open your command, open a browser, and then you can go to localhost, hit enter, and you will see it will redirect you to this page. So this page is coming from index.php. So you can create your own index.php and put it here. If you don't have any default page, it will default to index.php. So at the back here, when you are opening localhost here, like this, you hit enter, it is actually going to index.php. It's the same thing. So it will redirect you to this dashboard inside here. So we are going to put our own index page here, so we should not have this here. So we can rename this. So we just right click, rename it with the underscore at the back to disable it. We are going to put our own index.php. Note that in the web server, everything you want to show to the public, you put in htdocs. That only applies to your XAMPP. If you're running a web server on the Linux machine, then the location will not be htdocs, it will be in another location. So for XAMPP, we put it in htdocs. So now we can create our web page over here, and we can, for example, create a simple web page. For example, we create index and then text, and then we can call it index and then .php. We can also call it index.html. What's the difference? HTML pages are static pages. That means you cannot generate any dynamic content. But index.php is dynamic. It can generate content dynamically on the fly. So that's the difference. So in this course, we are mostly going to concern with index.php, PHP scripts rather than HTML. Now to edit, you can right click on it and open with Notepad++, which you have installed earlier. A simple web page will be HTML like this with a HTML tag, and then we have a closing HTML tag, and then inside we have a head, and then a closing head, and then below that we have the body, and then the closing tag for the body. This is a basic skeleton for a HTML page. With the head will contain the title. The title will be showing up here in the title bar of your browser. So you can put a title, say title, like this. And then for the body is what will be shown in the content of the browser. So here you can put a message. We use header 2. Header 2 means bigger font size, and the closing tag. So everything contains opening and the closing tag. The closing tag has a /, as you can see. HTML here, and the closing tag has a /, and then the head here and the closing tag for head has a /, and then the body open here and the closing tag for the body has a /. Same with the title, open title and closing title, open h2 tag and closing h2 tag. All comes in pairs. So we can save this now, and then if you try to open now this web page, localhost, hit enter, you will find the welcome there, and the title here shows title test. So the title test comes from this here, and the welcome comes from here. So this is how it works. Alright, and then we can also use PHP. So PHP and HTML can mix together. So in order to use PHP, we have to close this and rename this file to become PHP. Rename this to be PHP. So now it becomes a dynamic content. So we can modify it. Now we can keep the HTML code there, and then we can add our PHP on top if we want. So to add a PHP, we have to use the opening tag for PHP, which is a question mark followed by PHP, and then the closing of your PHP script will be somewhere at the bottom here. You can put a question mark and like this. So whatever inside here is your PHP script. A very simple one is to echo back a message. Hello, I am PHP generated, like this, and semicolon. So echo means that you are sending the string back to the browser. So let's test it out. So let's go to here, localhost, hit enter. So when you hit enter without any parameters, it means you are accessing your index.php. That is the default. So hit enter and you can see this is what you get. Top here is the dynamically generated reply coming from PHP, and the bottom here is the HTML coming from the bottom here. So PHP and HTML can coexist in the same file. That is the power of PHP. PHP was designed to be inserted inside HTML pages. So that's the power of it. So PHP is dynamically generating your content. HTML is static, it is fixed. So in PHP you can put any kind of logic like if-else statements, and then do calculations and so on and so on.